Iran-backed rebels Yemen have accused Saudi Arabia of blowing up part of the capital's airport and preventing much-needed aid from entering the country. Houthi rebel leaders said on Tuesday that the radio navigation system at Sana'a International Airport had been destroyed in a Saudi airstrike. This halted the only flights at Sana'a Airport, those of the United Nations and other international organizations delivering humanitarian assistance, the rebel-run General Authority for Civil Aviation said. Houthi rebel leaders in Yemen say the radio navigation tower at Sana'a Airport was destroyed, preventing 8 aircraft, the only ones currently using the runway, to land. The destruction of the navigation tower cuts off another aid supply line into Yemen, where it is estimated 7 million people are facing famine. Pictured, people inspect the site of a second Saudi strike in the Yemeni capital. 7 million people are at risk of famine in Yemen, according to the United Nations, and are relying almost exclusively on aid to feed themselves. There was international outcry last week when Saudi Arabia blockaded the country's ports after a missile was fired towards its territory by the Houthi rebels. On Monday, Saudi agreed to reopen ports in government-controlled areas, but demanded extra security measures be put in place around the rebel-controlled port of Hodeidah. Jamie McGoldrick, the head of the UN's aid mission in Yemen, criticized the Saudis, saying such measures would take too long to implement and cause needless deaths. People inspect damage at the Defense Ministry complex in Sana'a after a Saudi airstrike. The strike comes just a day after Saudi ambassador to the UN Abdallah al-Muallimi agreed to reopen some ports to allow aid in. He had faced international outcry over the move last week. UN aid operations need access to the ports of Hodeidah and Salif because more than 2/3 of the people in need are closest to those ports, he said. Aden Port, which is controlled by allies of Saudi Arabia, does not have the capacity to handle the necessary volume of humanitarian cargo, he added. The day after the UN heard from Mr. McGoldrick, the navigation tower was destroyed. World Health Organization officials say more than 8,600 people have died since fighting broke out in Yemen in March 2015. Some 2,000 of those deaths were the result of a cholera epidemic that swept rebel-held areas this summer, with 500,000 people infected. Almost 50,000 have been wounded in the fighting, according to WHO figures.